we, we have a tendency to learn things, so to speak, or we come across knowledge in one way or in one perspective or given to us through one technique, so to speak, and that maybe we embrace, we kind of grasp it at that level or in what that technique is about, but we don't fully integrate it into our knowledge base or into our model of the world, which means that as soon as we're done with that technique or that little area of our life that it dealt with, and we move back into our everyday life, we don't bring it with us. And we don't continue applying the same knowledge to all aspects of our life as a means of upgrading our whole ability or becoming more adding it to our toolbox, so to speak, to become more masterful in how we live our life. And one of the primary forms that this takes place is in popular ideas that give us techniques for stuff that is about like manifesting things, for example. And it gives us little processes, and while we get it, when they're talking about that, we grasp, oh cool, and we kind of see it, and we kind of see how it would work and how we do that. So we kind of grasp it at a certain level, but then we'll turn right around and come into another situation and completely invest our mind in dwelling in a thought process or creating imaginary ideas about things, and where we're actually doing the same thing, but we don't realize we're doing the same thing, okay? And it's kind of like the idea that we have to break everything back down to the fundamental reality that unifies everything, and this is the level of energy, right? And when we do that, and we realize that everything that we see in our current world is an expression of qualities of energy, as vibrational frequencies that express and then dissolve, and express and then dissolve. It's life and death, right? But the fundamental reality that pervades the entire universe is energy. And energy is vibration. And vibration runs in wave bands called frequencies, okay? And every thought, desire, urge, impulse, emotion, intention, intuitive notion, all of them have a vibratory frequency. They vibrate at a particular frequency. And this frequency that we use our mind to create, we tune ourselves to that vibration by cultivating it. And we cultivate it by dwelling in an idea through a thought form, through our imagination, then having an emotional reaction to our own thoughts. Or we have a desire for something, we create a thought process around it, have emotional response to our own thought processes, form a desire for, all this like interweaving of qualities play in creating a main vibratory frequency that represents a holistic idea. And once we cultivate and train ourselves to certain thought processes that have certain emotional qualities to them, we become kind of what you might call a tuning device for that vibrational frequency, which allows us to perfectly not only tune into it in our environment, but we attract to us anything that's of the same nature, anything that's of the same vibrational quality, which means it's kind of like begets like, right? Which means that vibration as frequencies are archetypal patterns, and patterns exist as potential for expression as different types of stories that we could call thematic dynamics. So when we attract to us things of the same vibratory quality, they are of the same patterning as we are, and the dynamic that's inherent that we share as an interaction, we act out a pattern that creates an experience of the same emotional quality, okay? So the same emotion that motivates the whole process to begin with, the whole thought process, is the expressive component that expresses it as a full-blown reality, as an experience that gives us more of the same feeling, the same emotional quality. We have the same emotions as a result of the experience that it creates. And we're doing this the whole time ourselves, and we seldom ever realize it. This is probably the most primary form or the basis that underlies suffering in the world is we keep creating the same type of themes, the same type of experiences in our life because we have perfectly cultivated that ourselves to that vibratory frequency, and we become a tuning device for it. And we don't even realize that we're doing it, right? We just figure it's our lot in life, and this is just, my karma and all that type of stuff. We don't realize we can change it, And not only does the vibrational frequency determine what we stimulate in our environment. See, vibrational frequencies work through what we call resonance. And resonance is not only to do like if I have a vibrational frequency that's in the tone of E, let's say, what that means is that anytime I come within near proximity of another vibrational quality that's in the same range as my E vibration, it starts vibrating with me. Okay? And what that means, what's really happening when that takes place, is that the frequency, the energetic connection between us is the vibration, we're entering into each other and vibrating them. That's why we have a reaction. That's why we have a real strong feeling sensation in our body in response to them. They elicit a reaction, and the reaction becomes the basis of the interaction that takes place. A reaction is an interaction because we're of the same quality. It also determines the lens, so to speak, that we look through that determines what we see, or what we, and when we say see, it's what we notice and point out in a situation. There's lots of other things going on around us all the time. We don't even notice those, right? They're there, but nothing happens, right? Because when we look at them, nothing stimulates us, there's no reaction to it, there's no emotional expression going on. But when we look through the lens of, like, say, the E vibration, I only see in my environment what is of the same vibratory quality, of the same nature, the same essence, and the same idea as my patterning. And that's what I activate, point out, and use to compose or create experiences, kind of like as patterns of dynamic interactions that will act out an entire scenario as an expression of that same emotional quality. So, but we don't even realize that we're doing this at a certain level. I mean, we kind of get it in certain areas, and we become conscious of it sometimes when we're doing things, but the fact of the matter is, we're doing this as our basic creative power, and we're doing this all the time. So how we use our mind, what kind of ideas we engage in, we invest emotions in, we kind of dwell in, we imagine them, create them, we are actually honing ourselves to that frequency that becomes the basis of our experiences. So if we learn how to use this masterfully across the board in our life, and we attend to our own thoughts, and we don't readily just lend them to people that grab us with emotional punches, you know what I mean, or grab us with scare tactics that involve us in ideas or realities that are scary as hell, right? If we're kind of conscious and we say, okay, no, I don't want to create experiences of that, right? I don't want to bring that into my experience. I don't want to become the expression of that idea. We can learn how to pick and choose, and more importantly, determine what we think, how we think, what kind of things we think of, and what kind of emotions we attach and infuse our ideas with as a means of creating a vibrational frequency that will attract those experiences too. So it's really about kind of like consciousness, staying aware, and understanding the true knowledge or the true principles that are operating in a situation that we can use masterfully as a means of creating the type of experiences that we truly want, instead of just, kind of being subject to or having a reaction to things that we don't want, and then being confused as to why. So take control of your own mind and pay attention to what you're engaging in.